Although I haven't had a single neuropathy symptom for 3 years now, there are occasions when I lie there in bed in the morning and just wait. I wait to see if there's any sensation, any jangling of the nerves. There's nothing, not a thing. I try to feel even a tingling where I once suffered pins and needles, numbness, and pain, but it's gone. I can lay there all day if I want to. The pain isn't coming back. 3 years after I last felt any neuropathy symptoms at all, it's still such a relief to know I'll never experience them ever again. Yet, if you'd asked me 3 years ago if I thought I'd ever see a day when my nerve pain just went away, I'd have said no, and probably laughed at you for asking such a question. I genuinely thought I had neuropathy for life. I followed my doctor's health advice and I took my meds. I followed instructions and hoped it wouldn't get worse. These treatments, though, are just damage limitation, because over time, it did get worse. The pain relief meds had to get stronger, and the side effects, dizziness and tiredness, meant I had to give up work. But as you may already know, the worst neuropathy complications can be awful. Blood pressure problems are common, digestion starts to go wrong, and sexual dysfunction issues are more likely. Some neuropathy patients suffer foot and leg amputation, but I sidestepped all that. You would want to, too. In fact, I did something for myself that led to me never experiencing a single neuropathy symptom ever again. And as a result, I have been well for 3 years. I'm not sure I've been this healthy since my 20s, and yet it was incredibly simple to do. Here's what I did. The real reason we get neuropathy. Neuropathy is an unusual illness because its real causes are actually other illnesses. Other things are going wrong with us, and neuropathy is one of the side effects. Sometimes we know what the other illness is, and sometimes we don't. If you are having trouble regulating blood sugars, then nerve damage is a common side effect of that problem. If you suffer from any kind of immunity disease, then again, neuropathy is a known side effect of such illnesses. Chronic inflammation is endemic throughout the Western world, and it often has nerve pain as one of its side effects. In fact, there's a long list of conditions that directly lead to neuropathy. Sometimes we get the neuropathy before we even know about the condition that's causing it. That's because the condition itself hasn't been picked up by our doctor. In this case, neuropathy is our first clue that something's going badly wrong with our body. Either way, it's an underlying illness that leads to neuropathy. Neuropathy is its side effect, and the real reason we can be rid of it. If we could resolve that underlying illness, then of course our troubles are over. We get shot of the illness and the neuropathy that it's causing. But how on earth do we do that? Well, I found out one thing that turned my worries into hope, and my hopes into health and happiness. Because although many health conditions can eventually lead to neuropathy, just about all those health conditions themselves originate from one single problem. Sounds a little odd, I know. But it's now firmly understood by medical scientists that these apparently different conditions all have at their source a single cause. If we tackle that single cause head on, then those conditions can't last. And if the condition can't last, then the neuropathy they cause can't last either. So that's the key. Get rid of the underlying illness, whether that illness has been diagnosed yet, and the neuropathy disappears with it. The Neuropathy Recovery Plan. This is exactly how I got well again. It's this approach that got rid of my neuropathy for me. But my route back to full health didn't come via my doctor. What actually happened was this. I was watching a television documentary about natural health treatments. The show described how natural remedies for serious diseases were successfully treating conditions that modern medicine had given up on. It was fascinating to see so many real-life cases of devastating disease turn completely round, sometimes in just days. I mean, at that time, I was very skeptical about alternative treatments. I only really believed in my doctor. But as I watched the documentary, it was clear the result of natural treatments were very, very impressive. And I was sitting there in pain while I watched this documentary. The more I saw examples of other people having their health transformed by simple, natural methods, the more I wanted the same. If there was a way out of ongoing, never-ending neuropathy, then I was not going to sit back and let it pass me by. I spent a day online researching all this. I eventually found a well-respected, serious alternative health practitioner who had a fantastic reputation for helping neuropathy sufferers get better. Her name's Jody Knapp. Jody is a fantastic natural health practitioner. She's also the reason I no longer suffer neuropathy. What I learned from her was jaw-dropping, and it's this: the cause of neuropathy. First, Jody confirmed that neuropathy is almost always the side effect of some other illness. You don't get neuropathy, you get something else that causes neuropathy. You might not know yet what that something else is yet, but it is the underlying cause of your neuropathy. Jody's plan is to fully treat that underlying cause so that your neuropathy simply can't happen. Now, I wasn't so sure of how we would do this. In fact, until it actually worked for me, I was a little doubtful. But my nerve pains were getting so bad, I was prepared to take that leap of faith. Where our neuropathy starts. The question then is this: if neuropathy is caused by another illness, what causes that other illness? Well, we now know. For over a decade now, medical scientists have realized that the primary cause of a long list of deadly Western illnesses, including the ones that lead directly to neuropathy, is the gut. Yep, the gut. I found that a bit weird too when I first heard it. But human gut bacteria has been with us since the dawn of time. It doesn't just keep us healthy, it keeps us alive. There are hundreds of types of bacteria. Each type has its own job to do. When they're healthy and plentiful, our gut bacteria minimize inflammation, protect us from heart and kidney disease, manage our weight, regulate our cholesterol, stabilize our blood sugars, keep our moods consistent, and perform dozens of other tasks that literally make our lives possible. We simply cannot manage without healthy gut bacteria. But we also know that our gut bacteria is delicate, really delicate. These microscopic lifesavers need just the right nutrition and just the right conditions if they're to thrive. Unfortunately, Western lifestyles are not very kind to the gut. Our food habits rarely give them the nutrients they need, and without a regular supply of the right nutrition, our gut bacteria struggle to stay alive. Over years, those little guys slowly die off. As they do, they stop performing those vital, life-giving tasks in our bodies. And so we slowly become ill. And it's those illnesses that give us our neuropathy. And that's the link. Unhealthy gut bacteria leads to any one of a range of illnesses which have neuropathy as a side effect. Poor gut health, illness, neuropathy. We need to rescue that gut bacteria, because until they're functioning properly, we're going to stay ill and suffer neuropathy for the rest of our lives. No special diet required. About half of all Americans have poor gut health. It's mostly not our fault. Most of us don't eat healthily because we don't know how to. Health advice is complicated, contradictory, and confusing. Yet when you stop worrying about eating healthily and instead just eat for your gut bacteria, then everything becomes a whole lot easier. Because those little guys don't ask you to give up every darn thing you like to eat or drink. They simply need you to include in your diet plentiful supplies of the stuff that keep them in tip-top shape. Is that difficult? No. This is about eating some more foods, not throwing out foods you love. All I had to know was which specific foods to eat and how much of it to eat. Get this right and our good bacteria thrives. And when they thrive, the illness that is causing your neuropathy fades away. And when that illness fades away, so does the neuropathy that it was causing. It takes a couple of weeks to get those bacteria back on their feet, but once they are, you can start kissing bye-bye to years of horrible, nasty, painful, or just plain frustrating illness. And that includes neuropathy, which is how it worked out for me. Get it right the first time. Jody has created a program that shows us how to get those vital little helpers back on their feet. Her program is called Neuropathy No More. There are now over 7,000 people who have said goodbye to their neuropathy because of it. Here's what's in Neuropathy No More. Jody explains the how and why of neuropathy, so I truly understood my illness. She lists the specific supermarket foods that restore my gut health. She gave me alternatives for a couple of items that I should eat less of in order to speed up my recovery. She described the combination and quantities of food that would make me healthy again. Jody described quick food preparations that give your gut bacteria everything they need to get healthy again. To make things even more straightforward, Jody has split her program into steps. She introduces new elements with each step so you can make very small changes over time. You can do step 1, get used to it, move on to step 2, and so on. The beginning of my recovery. I was impatient and opted to do everything Jody recommended from day 1. I gave my gut bacteria exactly what they need in the quantities they need them. It took just 3 days for me to notice things improving. Small changes at first, a slight reduction in numbness and tingling, but it was evidence that this was actually working. And as the days went by, both pain and the tingling sensation faded until I was left with mild numbness. It took some more days before full feeling started to come back, but it did come back, at which point I began to realize that I was now an ex-neuropathy sufferer, and that felt absolutely wonderful. Eat plenty of food. This is not a restrictive diet. I lost some weight over the weeks, about 16 pounds in as many weeks. But Jody's plan has you eating more food, not less. Neuropathy is now a choice. We used to think that nerve damage was permanent. We now know that nerves can adapt, grow, and repair. And we realize that neuropathy is part of a chain. Unhealthy gut bacteria lead to illness. Illness has neuropathy as a side effect. Treat those bacteria and everything else falls into place. Which means that today neuropathy is no longer a life sentence. It's a choice, and I chose to be rid of it. How about you? If you're suffering neuropathy, then please realize that you no longer have to. Rather than allow it to get gradually worse, you can head it off right now. Jody's program is proven, guaranteed, and very straightforward. Using it to recover from neuropathy was one of the best decisions of my life. I honestly believe it will be one of the best decisions of yours. Simple, easy, and no meds or treatments. Click the link below and Neuropathy No More will be with you in minutes. The route out of neuropathy. Remember, there's a simple route leading to your neuropathy. The loss of bacteria leads to illness, which then causes the neuropathy side effect. Gut health, illness, neuropathy. I treated the gut problem, resolved the illness, and so said bye-bye to my neuropathy. And everything I needed to achieve this is in Jody's Neuropathy No More program. You can have your own copy of Neuropathy No More in just a few minutes. Click the link below to get it. The end game for neuropathy is an absolute disaster. Foot and leg amputation, blood pressure problems, digestion problems, sexual dysfunction, obesity, a long list of catastrophes basically. Which of these would you be prepared to put up with? None, I'm guessing. Me neither. Yet if things are allowed to slide, then these become more and more likely. No thanks. If all it takes to avoid this is some tweaks to my lifestyle, then that's what I'll do. And that's what I did. This is a bullet you need to dodge. Click the link below to get Neuropathy No More right now, and you can sidestep all this quickly and easily.